Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. Talk about timing during a real-time national state of emergency exacerbated by climate change. The National Party is fending off questions about having a climate sceptic in its midst. West Coast-based List MP Maureen Pugh today said she was still waiting to see the evidence that humans have an impact on climate change. A stance the Prime Minister called staggering and one Pugh was forced to walk back. Here's our political editor, Jenna Lynch.
Climate change is not lapping at our doorstep, it's barrelling through homes. In Gisborne, Carl Brandt trudging through his new lawn of silt.
I'm going to say that.
And trying to salvage whatever Gabrielle left behind.
These guys here are digging horrible crap. They've been at it for an hour and a half, sweating it up. Just volunteers, you know.
But in the wake of two climate catastrophes, the Auckland anniversary floods and Cyclone Gabrielle, a National MP still isn't convinced on climate science.
It's not what I think, it's what I can prove. I am waiting on the evidence from the Minister.
News Tour leader.
Is there any room for climate deniers in your caucus?
Look, if you're denying that climate exists, if you're a climate minimalist, you can be under no illusions it's real.
Maureen Pugh has just said she's yet to see evidence climate change is man-made.
I would be very strongly saying climate change is real and it's happening.
Disbelief from her own colleagues. Well, some of them.
Do you think that climate change is man-made?
I'm not the weatherman.
Of course it is, and you think you can see the effects of that.
Obviously, man has an impact on the climate, there's no doubt about it.
The science is very clear.
We have cooled and warmed over millions
So
of...
you don't think the current climate change is down to humans?
I have yet to see what the evidence is.
She doesn't believe that it's man-made.
Okay.
Staggered the National Party is still having this debate. Climate change is absolutely man-made.
What do you think of Maureen Pugh's comments?
Oh, well, I think Simon Bridges made some comments on that a couple of years ago. I won't repeat them here.
Those comments from 2018.
Maureen Pugh's useless.
To help Pugh out, the Climate Change Minister brought a climate report to Parliament.
Yeah, look, I honestly don't have time to respond to, people who just don't believe in science.
But don't take it from him, take it from this climate scientist.
Human influence, mainly through greenhouse gases, is warming the world.
And basically every other expert.
There's a ton of evidence. There are tens of thousands of papers on this topic. It's the most studied question in earth sciences in the last quarter century.
Carl Brandt unimpressed with Pugh, imploring political parties to do more to tackle climate change.
I just hope we're not too late, and this is what people are going through because of it.
And by mid-afternoon, a come to science moment.
I accept the scientific consensus that human-induced climate change is real.
So is this what you believe, or is this what you've been told to say?
These are my words.
She's apologised to her leader.
That was part of our conversation, and so yes, she will be reading a series of books that I have read and that I want her to read as well.
Because it is real, it is us, and it's us that's going to have to clean it up. The Prime Minister reflecting on the devastating floods in his opening address to Parliament.
The recent weather events have wreaked havoc on millions of Kiwis' lives.
Finance Minister not ruling out a flood tax to pay for the clean-up.
We haven't made any decisions about that. The government has to work through both how we're going to pay for things and what we have to pay for.
Taxes and climate denial, political minefields in the midst of a national disaster.
Well, Jenna joins us now. Kia ora, Jenna. So how likely a flood tax?
This is actually an idea that they pinched from Queensland. So following their devastating floods in 2011, they introduced a flood levy. Basically how it worked was people on an average wage paid about 50 cents to $1 a week. People on, say, 100 grand paid $5 a week. Introducing a tax in an election year is like a red rag to the National Party. So the Finance Minister would only take that political hit if he needed to, and if it was actually going to raise enough revenue to be meaningful. But Newshub understands that the government was told today that just cleaning up the silt alone could cost up to $200 million. That's before you even start thinking about a rebuild. So rightly, the government is keeping every single option to pay for this on the table.
That's our political editor, Jenna Lynch. Tēnā koe.